Welcome to this edition of The Link this week. And we promised to speak more about oil and gas now that FID happened on January 1st. And tonight we're discussing joint ventures and taxation. What's a joint venture? How does the law tax you if you're in a joint venture? Tonight my guest is Miss Veronica Mawanda Magembe. I was want to say it properly. Veronica Mawanda Magembe, who is tax manager, oil and gas, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Veronica, welcome.
Thank you, Sam.
Joint ventures for oil purposes. What are we talking about?
When we talk about joint ventures within the oil and gas, we have a national content law, which basically provides that for Ugandan companies are given priority to provide goods and services and also employing Ugandans. So where there is no Ugandan company that can provide services within the oil and gas sector, then any foreign company that wants to provide those services in Uganda, then they have to enter into a joint venture arrangement with a Ugandan company. And it goes further to provide percentage in terms of shareholding when you form that kind of joint venture association. So the Ugandan company should have a minimum of 48% within that joint venture arrangement with the foreign company. And when we talk about a Ugandan company, we are talking about a company that is incorporated in Uganda. Yes.
On the side of me, the Ugandan shareholder, what's required of me under the JV apart from having 48%? Anything else that, you know?
Yes, so for you as a Ugandan company to be within that joint venture arrangement, you need to have the technical capabilities required and the experience for you to be able to provide that services within that joint venture arrangement. And also that joint venture has to be approved by the Petroleum Authority, which is the regulatory authority within the industry.
So that means, Veronica, that I, Sam Setumba and company, I don't know anything about oil, but I set up a company and register on the database of PAU, and I get a foreign guy who knows what to do, and we partner. Can I do that?
So Sam, you have to be registered as an entity.
Yes.
You have to be registered on the National Supplier Database because that's one of the ways for the foreign entity to know which kind of companies can I partner with, because at least they've fulfilled that requirement with the Petroleum Authority as a provider of that kind of services that is required.
So if I'm registered on database, I don't know very well about oil. I can attract an oil person from outside and we can do work.
Yes, that's
fantastic. That's an opportunity. You know, here on The Link, we are discussing opportunities. And Ugandans may be saying, I don't know anything about oil. I don't know if I can play. You can do a joint venture and succeed. Very well, Veronica. Types of joint ventures for oil purposes. Tell us about that.
Yes, so what we've seen within the industry, there are two main forms of joint venture within the oil and gas. One is the unincorporated joint venture. So this is where NTV can partner with PwC through an agreement.
MOU.
So we just sign an agreement where we put together what are each other's responsibilities. What will NTV do? What will PwC do? What assets are you going to bring? What am I going to bring? What decisions are you responsible for? Then also in terms of the liability for us to be able to provide this contract,
Yeah.
both of us are severely liable to that liability
Okay.
in terms of performing that contract.
Okay.
So the kind of arrangement where you sign an agreement is what we called unincorporated joint venture arrangement.
We are still apart.
Yes, but you can be in that arrangement where you either share profits or you can share revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, but in terms of the agreement sets out how will you be able to operate for you to be able to service that contract.
Okay.
Yes.
And that can work like, it's okay. In all this context, we're speaking about Ugandan companies, but here we are local companies.
Yes.
That unincorporated is between local companies.
Yes, it can also work. So if you're between local companies, it can still be the same arrangement.
All right. What's the other type?
So we have one which is incorporated.
Okay.
So where we have NTV and PwC, we set up another company. And that company will be the one to provide the goods and services within the oil industry.
Okay.
So it's now that company that will pull together resources as shareholders, depending on the type of the entity, and it's an independent entity between NTV and PwC.
Okay.
So it's liable, and the partners are not liable to any liability. So it's an independent entity altogether.
It's like a child born of the two.
Right.
But the child operates on their own axis a bit. But in the background, we might give the capital and everything else, but that child is the one that has been created to do that job.
Yes.
All right. Now let's go to the tax question. Let's go to the unincorporated joint venture, NTV and PwC. How are we taxed for oil purposes?
So it's a bit different for the taxation.
Okay.
And the taxation also follows the kind of joint venture entity you've put together.
Okay.
So where we have an unincorporated joint venture whereby you just sign an MOU or a contract that governs both parties, then if that arrangement is for you to share into the profits, then for tax purposes, you may have to set up that kind of arrangement for tax purposes as a partnership.
Okay. Let's go again. So if we think about an incorporated JV, joint venture, for tax purposes, we have to create a partnership. Explain that.
Yes. So because you've come together to with a common objective of making profits. Yeah. So from a taxman, you need that kind of association is a partnership, and it has to be registered for tax purposes as a partnership, whereby you have to get a tax identification number
for that partnership.
Remember, you have NTV and PwC.
They're independent companies.
We sign an agreement, but for us to be able to pay taxes that has come out of the profits of that agreement, we need to register that association as a partnership, with URA, get a tax identification number, it has to pay taxes, and you and me will be partners within that partnership.
So what will be taxed will only be the proceeds from that partnership, and we have to prove it. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. Now let's go to the incorporated partnership. Incorporated JV. How are we taxed?
Okay. So before you come to that, there is another component for unincorporated partnership where you can decide. Let's just share the revenue.
Okay.
So we've signed an agreement, the revenue that comes, you've agreed on your obligation. NTV, you get your percentage, I get my percentage.
Okay.
So that kind of arrangement, you're not in that arrangement to share profits.
Okay.
But you just share revenue.
Yes.
So you'll be taxed as different entities.
the revenue will be part of our general filing.
Yes, so the revenue will be part of the share that comes to PwC. That revenue will form part of revenue for PwC.
The normal revenue.
The normal revenue.
Ah, okay. Very well. I know we're running out of time. So let's go to the incorporated joint venture.
So for the incorporated one, remember you've set up a special purpose entity.
Yeah.
If it's a company, then you have to tax that company.
Okay.
As a separate entity.
Okay.
30% for income tax. So what remains is what is shared between the partners after taxation. But for Ugandans, because where a Ugandan has shareholding of more than 25%,
okay,
in that company.
And in this case, it would be even
more because it's 48.
Yes.
So meaning if I'm in partnership as a company, then I won't be taxed because there is an exemption.
Okay.
So whereas for the foreign entity, they will be taxed at 15%.
Okay.
For a Ugandan company, the distributions which are made to a Ugandan as an individual, then there won't be any taxes on those ones.
So a JV partner who is Ugandan,
a Ugandan company, not an individual,
okay, is not taxed.
Yes.
What is not taxed? The income is not taxed.
The distributions which they get from that company which they've formed together.
Yes. After they have paid their tax, basically they share profit after tax.
After tax.
So their profits are not taxed if I'm a Ugandan. However, the foreign partner in the JV will be taxed at 15%.
Yes.
Okay. That's quite something, eh? Viewers, if you think, what are they saying? Once this runs, if you're misunderstanding what we have said, go back and watch it slowly. Veronica has tried to break it down as much as possible, and I've tried to help you follow it. It's very important to understand these tax issues because that's where the money is going to be for oil. You might not get as much money as you expect if you don't get these issues right. We hope we added value to you in terms of oil and gas, and we are bringing more. That was the link. Thank you for joining us tonight.